Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the Hidden Power Unleashed Ultimate Gohan, the Strength Ultimate Gohan that recently got his EZA with the big Golden Week celebration. So this Gohan's kind of been notorious for being really bad, barring his sticker effect, which has always been really cool. But he's been really bad for a very long time, so we're going to take a look and see how they've changed him. So with his EZA, they've made him a Hybrid Saiyans 170% lead. That's okay, Hybrid Saiyans is a very strong category. He was always a leader of a strong category, just not a strong unit himself. He will greatly raise attack permanently, which is great. And he will also raise his defense for one turn, which is also pretty good. So 50% defense raise for one turn and a permanent 50% attack raise every single turn means that his attack should really stay up to speed. In terms of his passive, he has attack and defense of 158%, he gives superclass allies defense of 50%, and he gives entrusted will category units 2 key and attack and defense of 30%. The entrusted will is a little bit weird, not necessarily saying it's a bad category. It is just a little bit weird that he's a very specific support in terms of attack and key, but I guess I didn't want to make him too powerful. He has a high chance to guard all attacks, which is 50%, and he has, once that's activated once, he will then guard all attacks and have or launch an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack for 4 turns when that guard is activated. So essentially, if you do get his guard to activate, he will be 100% able to have his guard active afterwards. That will enable him to fire off multiple super attacks and you'll look pretty strong. His links are All in the Family, Saiyan Lineage, Z Fighters, In Fighter, Shocking Speed, Power Bestowed by God, and Fierce Battle. And his categories are Hybrid Saiyans, Majin Buu Saga, Goku's Family, Siblings Bond, Revenge, Rapid Growth, Saviors, Powerful Comeback, and Entrusted Will. The first team that we are going to be trying him on is going to be a Hybrid Saiyans team. And then we're going to take a look at how he does on a Goku's Family team. So we're going to get a pretty good look at him overall. And get a nice idea of how well he does as a unit. So before we talk about him or his design or anything like that, I think first let's just get a look at his attack and defense stats at 55%. So it's very important to take note that this unit is at 55%, and I think that's generally speaking going to be a good indication of him. Rainbow levels pretty cool, and we'll talk about his kit and everything, and yes, he will get better, but let's just see his numbers and then we'll kind of talk about how he functions and how you should build him. I think overall Gohan's EZA was good. I don't actually think it's bad in any way, shape or form. They do very rarely give units full guard on EZAs. I don't know why that is, they just very rarely do. It is one of those things. So right here, right off the bat, we can see 175,000 defense. Now it's very important to take note that this is with 2 supports and All in the Family active. So that is a little bit inflated, but it's a very good starting point. The fact that he's going to have an over 150k kind of defense is good for him. Remember, on his super, he'll raise his defense again by 50%. So we're looking at around about over 200k defense in this scenario, or well over 200k defense in this scenario, which is very good. So Gohan's looking solid on the defensive front, 50% chance to guard. So here's the thing, if Gohan activates his guard here, which he doesn't, he would have had a high chance of launching an additional super attack, which is very good. In terms of attack stat, looks very solid as well, 2.9 million, nothing too crazy, but remember that with Gohan and with the way he's built, you can essentially build him full crit. So basically the premise of Gohan is this: if Gohan activates guard, he's going to have guard for 4 turns, and for those 4 turns he'll also be having a high chance, so a 50% chance of firing an additional super attack. Now if you build Gohan full crit, that means that most chances are you're going to be able to get 2 super attacks that are probably going to crit during that turn. Double super attacks also means double raising of Gohan's defense. Now greatly raising Gohan's defense twice means that Gohan's going to be a unit with 300 or 400k defense with guard at a rainbow level, which is very strong, very powerful. Not to mention the fact that he's giving the rest of the rotation a 50% defensive buff if they are obviously a superclass unit, and he's also giving a Entrusted Will category buff as well. So Gohan looking very solid. He has 4 links active here. He still has a bit of support, and you can see that that defense has dropped down to 161k. But overall, Gohan's looking really, really solid. The very important thing about Gohan is that he and Teq Gohan complement each other very, very well. So if you get Gohan's guard to active, he can be a great foil for Teq Gohan. He elevates him completely. They share 5 links together, which is crazy. When Teq Gohan transforms, they share 4 links when Teq Gohan's in his base form. They also obviously, he gives Teq Gohan 50% defense, which is fantastic. He gives Teq Gohan 2 ki as well through his Entrusted Will support, and he gives him 30% extra attack. So he gives Teq Gohan a lot on the table, and that makes them really, really function super nicely together. Now, are they one of the most powerful defensive pairings in the game? Probably. They're a very, very strong pairing. Basically, the fact that they both essentially, one has guard all the time and one has guard 50% of the time. One starts off with a crazy high amounts of defense, the other one stacks attack and defense super duper quickly. The fact that his defensive support and his attack and ki support supports Gohan the whole way is very, very good. And not to mention, strength Gohan can be quite good offensively. If you activate his guard and you build him full crit, you're looking at a unit that can fire off 2 super attacks with a very high chance of always launching 2 super attacks and critting. And not to mention that with that remaining leftover additional that you give him, there's a chance he may even fire 3 additional super attacks. And if he fires off 3 additional super attacks and has his guard active, his defense is going to be nuts. Like, he's going to be crazy. So it's going to be very interesting to see how good Gohan is in content. I'm super interested to see how good Gohan is in content. So I'm very, very excited for this. Very excited to see how Gohan does overall. I think it's going to be a super duper awesome. I think he's good. I think he's really, really good. I think the only thing that obviously makes people a little bit uncertain is that 50% chance to guard, but I must be honest, I think he is extremely, extremely good. As if that activates, he's super good. And the Entrusted Will category we'll talk about, but you gotta also think about who Gohan's running with. And the thing is, most of the time, if you want to run this Gohan super effectively, you're running him with Teq Gohan. So at the end of the day, he's automatically always benefiting at least one other unit on his rotation, and that doesn't, it doesn't really matter then. It doesn't matter then if Gohan is, we activate this guard by his way. 3.5 million, very super solid, only 1 support on the rotation, nothing else really going on here. Super duper performance, and we get the additional attack, which is great. We get a crit on that. We don't get another super attack, but Gohan's defense would have been crazy high here. And yeah, the thing is, Gohan's always benefiting another unit on his rotation, because you're always going to be running him with Teq Gohan. So it's so difficult to say, that Gohan's not, yes, his support is very specific, but the unit you want to run him with, his best running partner, his best linking unit benefits from that passive. So it's super difficult to say don't run Gohan. Would it have been more ideal if it was hybrid Saiyans or something? Yes, for sure, 100%, and I agree with that. But Gohan definitely beefs up the unit that he runs most with, which I think is more than fine. So let's talk about his links for a second and just how they get better. So All in the Family is a defensive link, 15%, and at level 10 is now 20%. Saiyan Lineage is probably the most important link, as right now it's a 1 ki link at level 1, but at level 10 will be a 2 ki link and attack and defense of 5%. Z Fighters are uncommon link, but 15% attack that will jump to 20% attack. Infighter, again a 5% attack debuff that also debuffs the enemy, but nothing too severe with 15% defense. Shocking Speed gains 5% defense. It's a link that he will share with the transformed version of Teq Gohan. So Teq Gohan, when transformed, shares Shocking Speed with him. but in his base form shares the same lineage with him, so obviously that is something important to take note of. Power bestowed by God, very uncommon link for non-Potara units, so it's not really something you're going to see a lot of. Really only something him and other Ultimate Gohans will share, and its attack of 10% when performing an attack. And finally, Fierce Battle, which is obviously 15% attack, which changes to 20% attack. It's something that, he's going to pretty much have most of the time if you're linking him with other Dokkan units that awaken from Dokkan events or Dokkan medals, gain DFEs, gain Fierce Battles, so that's DFEs, sub-banner units. Any unit that awakens from a Dokkan event will have Fierce Battle. It's guaranteed. So that is the main thing of Gohan. Now, of course, for the most part, Gohan looks really solid. I think he's very good. In terms of the Entrusted Will portion of his support, I think it's important first to reference the units that fall under Entrusted Will to see whether it's a great ability for him to have. Obviously the leader is the AGL Trunks, who still denies me. Then you've got LR AGL Teen Gohan, you've got Teq LR Gohan, you've got Int SSJ Goku, you've got the SS2 LR Gohan, you've got the physical LR Trunks. All of those are on Entrusted Will. In terms of Hybrid Saiyans, there's a ton of Hybrid Saiyans on there. You've got the Transforming Teq Trunks, you've got pretty much a whole bunch of Trunkses. Realistically speaking, you've got the Goku Gohan exchange unit that we just got. You've got a lot of Int UIs, UI Gokus as well. You've got the Strength Namek Goku as well, the transforming one. There's a lot of units. There's actually a surprisingly good amount of units that are on the Entrusted Will category that you might find on Gohan's teams. There's a lot of powerful Hybrid Saiyans LRs that are on Entrusted Will. A lot of other powerful Hybrid Saiyans units in general that are on Entrusted Will. And even under Goku's family, there's a lot of Super Saiyan Gokus, there's a lot of UI Gokus, there's a lot of really powerful Gohan units that do have Entrusted Will. So realistically speaking, I don't actually think there's that big a downside to it being Entrusted Will. Like I said, on Goku's family team here, in this specific team, we're running him alongside the Namek Saga Goku, the transforming Super Saiyan Goku. That Goku is an Entrusted Will unit, and that's one of the better linking partners for Gohan. So again, it's just that Gohan has a very good linking partner. Majin Buu Saga, if you can't link him with the Teq Gohan, maybe you don't have Teq Gohan, maybe you were unlucky to not get him, then you could link him with the LR AGL Goten and Trunks. Ideally not greatest from a linking perspective, but he now supports them as a category unit, so very viable and more than acceptable. Maybe you want to link him instead with the Teq transforming Trunks. That's also entirely viable. Maybe on the Goku's family team you want to link him with Super Saiyan Gohan, Super Saiyan Goku Youth. The fact that he's giving all of these units key and he's giving them attack, he's giving them defense, means that it's not such a downside to not have necessarily his primary links linked up with them. And I think that's very important to note, that he does support a lot of units that you would find linked up with them. I mean, if you take a look here, he's got a very good situation set up here. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to actually see him attack because Goku is going to double crit super, which usually I'd be very chuffed with, but is not very great. I mean, you can see this Goku's doing 3 million damage, which is really good. It's really good if you consider how good that is in conjunction with Gohan. Gohan's giving him 50% support, Gohan's giving him 4 links, Gohan's giving him 30% attack and defense. That Goku was very buffed by being alongside the Strength Gohan, and you can see that he did a very good performance, and he also functions really well with Gohan by boosting his attack off of his super attack, which is why I placed him first. So for me, there's a lot of incentive to running Gohan now on teams, because a lot of the best running partners with him on those teams are units that you can actually give his buff to. So I think people Although it may appear limited at first, and yes, it's probably not affecting the floating unit in any way, shape or form, I actually think Gohan is exceptional, and I think that he's very solid. I think he's very, very good, and I think a lot of people are kind of over exaggerating that specificness of his support link. Now, the only real negative or downside is obviously 50% chance to guard. So as you saw a couple times in the video, we didn't always activate guard. And when you don't activate it, you are losing a significant component of Gohan's passive. And that's not to say that that's, all he has. He has very high defense in that to begin with, but it is a significant component. And it's not really something that you can have control over. And I think when you don't have control over things, that does feel like a downside. And I'm not going to argue with that. If there is a downside to this unit, it's the fact that there will be situations where you are expecting or you want that guard to active, and it's not going to. And that will happen. It's something that happens with a lot of units. Sometimes you want units to do additional supers. Sometimes you want them to do certain things. It is just very difficult, and it's something that you're not going to be able to guarantee. With that being said, I don't think it's necessarily a massive downside, and obviously Gohan does have the protection that once his guard is active, he will have it for at least 4 turns, but it is still a downside, and we can't, I'm not going to argue with that. But in terms of linking partner, I'm showing you a couple here on the screen. There's a couple different options for you to run, and it's just going to depend on what you have in your box, what you feel like running, certain running partners. A nice one is this AGL Gohan. They only share 3 links, but obviously they give each other 30% or they give each other 50% defensive supports to both of each other. So they actually just buff each other hugely, which I think is great, and I think works out really well as like a combination. So that's a really good running partner for him. That's an example of whereby he's not really necessarily giving that unit a lot, and that unit's not necessarily giving him everything, but together they work out really well because their passives are working so intuitively together. So I think that's really, really solid. Then surprising ones are units like the Gogeta and the Vegeta, the Strength Vegeta and the Teq Gogeta transforming units. They link really well with them actually, which is pretty good. It's surprising how well they link, which isn't a bad thing, but it's surprising. It's not something I was expecting to see, but it is cool that they at least have that option as well. The Goku and Gogeta unit, maybe not so much as cool as the Strength one, but it's cool that the Strength Majin Buu Saga lead also links well with Gohan. Means that they're a decent pairing for certain content, which I think is great and does help out quite a bit. So yeah, overall the link situation for Gohan is fine. It's as it always was. He's got a couple very good, awesome linking partners that link really well with them, and then he's got a whole bunch of units that really just share 2 or 3 links with them, and that's kind of how he's always been. Ultimate Gohans are like that because the Ultimate Gohan form is not something that you often see elsewhere. It's Super Saiyans link well with Super Saiyans, Saiyans link well with Saiyans, Hybrid Saiyans link well with Saiyans as well, kind of. Super Saiyan 3 units link well with Super Saiyan 3, God units with God, all those sort of things. But Ultimate Gohan is his own kind of thing. As I mentioned, he's got Power Bestowed by God, which is a link that's generally only kind of on Potara units, but Gohan's obviously not on the Potara team. So yeah, it's just one of those things. That being said, if you do find one of his partners, or even if you just want to run him with a unit that only shares like 2 or 3 links, like that AGL Kid Gohan from earlier, Gohan's still going to be great, and he still gives you a rotation a lot, so definitely give him a try. And obviously his best partner is Teq transforming Gohan. No doubt about it, they run off each other beautifully. I saw a phrase that says it's like a brick wall with a bazooka, and that's kind of how it is. But that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.